time. We're going to go to Q&A, but before, I want to acknowledge Chief Mahdi that is here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Also, Commissioner Castro, Commissioner Frisman, Sarah Sayed from the City Engagement Commission, Mir, Hassan from the Administration, Bill Monrose, and
Commissioner Rahman,
Commission. Okay, so let's start with the Q&A. For the news, Mohsin.
Before we do Q&A, I think it's imperative that we have a level of proper analysis. There hasn't been and there won't be a mayor that has been part of this community like me. Bar none. Everyone talked the talk. They came into your mosque and privately had relationships with you, and then publicly they were not willing to stand up with you. Throughout for the last 30-something years, we have stood side by side and dealt with very real issues in this city when it comes down to the Muslim community. Going back to my days of being a police officer, giving my attorney to the Muslim Officers Association to start their organization in the Senate, fighting against Greg Ball, who was Islamic phobic beyond belief, standing with you during young people. I think I recall with Hassan, being in Coney Island Avenue when in 2001, when Muslim young men were rounded up, not 21, 2001, when Muslim men were rounded up off of Coney Island Avenue and was taken to federal prison on 3rd and 30th Street, 3rd Avenue and 30th Street. I stood in front of that prison and stated that these young men should not be rounded up because of what happened on September 11th. From Kill the Muslim Day, walking with my brothers in Bay Ridge, to when our sisters were attacked for wearing a hijab. There's just a long history. And so you don't spend 30 years fighting on behalf of someone and then become mayor and abandon it. So you're not here today to say, okay, let's, grill Eric. You're here today saying, brother, it's good to see you. We're with you. We need to know how we continue to make the progress. You fought for me to get here. Now let's use this opportunity to do the things that you believe are important in your community. I think it's important to say that. You're not in the room with a mayor that is new to you. You're in the room with a mayor that has been a long-time friend to this administration, to this, these groups, the organizations, and the people in this community. So I just think it's important for us to say that, because what I've noticed lately, people who have just discovered activism have forgotten the history of those who have been doing this for a long, long time. A long time. I have been part of this battle that you have been continuing to fight for so many years. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir. Let's start with Urdu News. Mohsin Sahir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
What's up, brother? You got a lot of footage of me.
Mr. Mayor, there is no doubt that you are new to us and to our communities, and now this office and this post is also not new to the ethnic and community media, and we are so grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my question is, what step is the city doing to include Muslim community in its diversity, equity, and inclusion? I know last press conference you talked about your first year in office, and if you could shed some light what you plan to do in the time to come.
And I think that, number one, we need your help. We have 25,000 jobs. 25,000 jobs. And when we do an analysis of unemployment, we know that there's a high level of unemployment in many of your communities. So we need you to be part of this recruitment effort. People say, Eric, what are you doing about the diversity? I turn around and say, no, what are you doing about the diversity? Because we have the jobs, we continue to list these jobs. Our appointments secretary, we're looking for people to fill these jobs in mid-management, the civil service, all levels. And sitting around the table right here today, the person in charge of oath is of a Muslim background. The person who's mayor, who every hire that we get in City Hall goes through mayor. These are very powerful and strategic positions. Mayor, with all of his knowledge, was sitting on the sideline until I became the mayor. Now he directly communicates with me and gives me his thoughts on how we should make sure we hire to get to the diversity. And so we need to continue to fill those positions in every agency to make sure that we have the right Muslim representation. So I'm going to do my job, but the community must do his job. The community must look over these available positions and state that we would like to put in resumes and application for these jobs. This is a partnership. So at the end of my administration, we should have more Muslims in government than any other administration, please.
So before we continue, I want to acknowledge talking about that. Other city officials. Hassan Nabi, Executive Director for the Prevention of Hate Crimes, Samir Nasser, Executive Director for the Presidential Office, Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. Muhammad Farid, First Independent Civilian Rep to the NYPD, Committee. Mohammed Bani, Senior Muslim liaison for CAU. So now we continue with weekly Dunia International. Mansour.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate your presence there. My question is that, as you know, there are certain university agencies, a lot of Muslim also, they are part of the city working as a workforce of the city. So, will you allow your offices to perhaps some states to offer obligatory prayers during this whole month of Ramadan?
Well, who's Bahi? I'm not sure. Bahi was the first person that brought this to my attention, and we opened a space. We made sure we sat down with legal and said that this is what we want to do. Bahi was able to establish a location where people were able to carry out prayers, and we will open that up to any of our city buildings that we believe people should have the right to pray. Remember me, I'm the one that believes in God. So yes, nothing could do us greater justice and a greater service, because when you are a city employee, you're receiving people at their basically the lowest level, and I think that vicarious trauma is passed on to our employees. And if you could throughout the day take a moment to pray, take a moment of reflection, take a moment to renew yourself, I think it makes you a better employee. And so the answer directly is yes. Yes, you can, brother.
So under the mayor's leadership, we were blessings that we were the first to establish Friday prayers here at City Hall, which is something extremely important because the nearest mosque is about 15-20-minute walk. You can see in the weather in the winter, sometimes we're forced to take a meeting or forced to choose between our faith and our office. So now actually in our same building, it's literally, a couple of flights up in the building. We all meet, actually a lot of us here meet every Friday. We conduct a khutbah, we pray Jum'ah, we meet each other. It's kind of a meet and greet, and we get to go. But we also have, I'll let Sister Sarah speak about this. We also have another prayer and meditation room on the 4th floor, right, Sarah? Yeah, so if you want to chime in about that for the daily prayers that we could pray as well.
That's right. There is a room that people can go to, and it is open to anyone who wants to use it for readings, as well as people, whether faiths, no faith, who want to have a place to pray, quiet, meditate, whatever is there.
Thank you.
And I've done before. Okay, this is what I heard on the campaign trail by actualizing. Never has been done before.
This one John's runs for as well. The first liaison to the community, and got into in the hospital, but the mayor's appointed the first level of the position, as well as leadership in many of the agencies, even the police department. Over the years, you've seen the 5 or 6 key leadership commanding officers spots in the Muslim community, as well across
expect from all of us to help achieve the mission?
Okay, that's a great question. Because we can't be accidental, we have to be intentional. What we're seeing around hate crime, AAPI community, Muslim community, the Jewish community, the African American, migrants, we have to be intentional about bringing people together. That's what Breaking Bread Building Bonds is about. Because if we spend the time, and I'm hoping everyone will sponsor a dinner. We want to do 1,000 dinners throughout the city. 10 people a minimum of 10 people at each dinner, all coming from a different ethnic, religious, cultural background, so they can sit down and engage in a conversation. Because if we're honest with ourselves, we don't know each other. And we see a sister wearing a hijab because we don't know what it's about or what it represents. We automatically, think negative about it. We see someone in the Jewish community that is having their curl from their religious belief. We think negatively about it. See someone with a yarmulke or a kufi. So we have to sit down and engage in real conversation and be intentional about it. And we should find ways of being intentional about how do we sit down with each other and speak with each other to learn more about each other. We want to do it in our schools. An African American student should be doing research and a book report on a child from Central America. Central America should be doing it for someone that from Asia. We need to not only hear from the individual groups to talk about their community, but those outside should also play that role.
Thank you.
Weekly Bangalore,
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much that you invited us to speak for the Ramadan. So my question is that now you are serving 90 schools, the halal foods for the Muslim students, and you allocated $50 million for that. But there are 1,800 schools in New York City. So what is your policy to serve the halal foods in other schools? Is there any minimum students, Muslim students, so then you can decide to serve the halal foods on that schools?
And we need to do it in layers. It's one of the things that sometimes we're a victim of our success. As you just said, the dollar amount. We wanted to identify those schools where we had a large Muslim population. So we want to be smart how we do this because we're in a real financial crisis right now. And we've been so successful in ensuring that the city's functioning that people don't realize the dire strait that this city is in right now. We have a multi-billion-dollar budget deficit that is potentially in the next 2 years to go up to $13 billion. In 2005, all of the stimulus money that we had is going away. The asylum seekers has placed an unprecedented strain on us. So we want to be smart how we spend the dollars. So we wanted to look at those areas where we had a high number of Muslims to make sure we provided food for those halal food. This is something that I promised when I was on the campaign trail. We're going to continue to roll it out. Do we need it in every school? No, we don't. You have some schools where you don't have any Muslim children there. No one eats halal food. There may be places that you need kosher food. So we want to make sure we're smart while we are fair, but at the same time deal with this financial crisis that we are experiencing.
And just to add on that as well, Muhammad Bahi and Sanchu have these monthly meetings, Department of Education, talking about halal food, ensuring that they understand what the needs are, ways of expanding it, and it's something since the mayor came into office, it was on a monthly basis of conversations that were involved on that topic.
Thank you.
Proton Mahalo, Ibrahim, Chowdhury.
Yes.
We are okay. Thank you. You have a question?
Yes, this is Ibrahim Chowdhury from Proton. Thank you more and more for inviting me a little bit late. I have a little question. Ramadan is coming. Probably you can address this issue. Our community from Brooklyn to Bronx, they're concerned about the safety during the time of night prayer. So we like to ensure us that more police presence will be there, and we'll do the community. Thank you.
Yeah, Chief Mandry's here who took over the department and has just been really addressing these crime issues. You want to do an analysis, Chief?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your question. We are well aware that the holy month of Ramadan is upon us, and we're getting prepared First and foremost, we'll be having our pre-Ramadan meeting in One Police Plaza on the 21st, which is a Tuesday, 12:30 registration. 1300 is the start, 1 o'clock is the start of the event, so everyone is welcome. I hope to see everyone in One Police Plaza next week. And then just in terms of what we'll be doing, first and foremost, we'll be making sure all the commanding officers from every precinct are going to be visiting the mosque. They're going to be visiting the mosque, the schools, making sure that, you know, the community knows that the police are there. And their neighborhood coordination officers, our youth officers as well. Every night we'll be turning out house of worship orders, and we'll make sure that we'll put extra police out there, extra coverage. The biggest thing we want to make sure is that the lines of communication are open, that you see the officers visible, especially during the times of prayer. If there are any big events that will be happening in any particular month, please reach out to the precinct and let them know that we'll have 3,000 members out here, or 5,000 members out there, so we can be prepared and put extra police officers out there. When you look at the department, right now we're pushing about 3,000 members who are Muslim. And when you look at the commanding officers, I believe right now I have six commanding officers right out the area. 6 commanding officers. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we didn't have these kind of numbers. First female Muslim commanding officer just 2 months ago we put in place, Captain Floor up in the Bronx. So the department is doing very well in that end, just really diversifying, putting members of all facing different leadership roles. So this is important to us. And if all else fails, you just bring out Detective Amen. And he takes care of everything.
This issue and make sure the community people know the information. Thank you.
Thank you. So, weekly, Janabhumi, Ratan Taluk there?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, okay, where are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, okay, how are you? Good.
I have a question, Mr. Honorable Mayor. Do you have any plan to visit the mosque or Muslim community area during the holy Ramadan, month of Ramadan?
You said to visit the mosque? Man, I'm in so many mosques. I am not a holiday visitor. I visit the mosque, throughout the year often, and the reception I receive always from brothers and sisters who are at the mosque, and we're going to continue that. I will be visiting. I think we're doing a couple of Ramadan dinners. We should do them in Borough Hall. And actually, I was with the Brooklyn Borough President, who also wants to do something jointly there where they can have prayer as well. But yes, I will be visiting many of the mosques and continue to do so. You can put it there, David, on the side.
Just to add, I think the first house of worship visit we did was in Austin, Queens.
Yes.
And I think the mayor has done more mosque visits in his first year than any other mayor under the
Probably the duration of the administration.
And just to add to that, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we are also organizing the first ever 5 borough Ramadan tour, where with the mayor scheduled to visit one community in each borough during Ramadan. And this is not included the previous mosque and the janazah prayers, and actually even this Saturday, the mayor is attending a grand opening of a mosque in Queens, a Bukhariya mosque, which hasn't happened before. So his commitment to our masajids, the houses of Allah, has not been, that level of commitment has not done that any mayor previously.
And also the first mayor to host the Imam town hall meeting that was held in Brooklyn, which was unprecedented.
Thank you. So before we go to the next thing, you want to mention that board?
Yeah. And I'm going to hand out these cards. There's a QR code on here. Our goal is to speak to you directly. All you have to do is put your phone over it, lock in. This will take you to sign up to hear directly from us about jobs, about events, about appearances, where we're going to be, about announcements. You shouldn't have to filter and have, the daily tabloids tell you what I'm doing. We need to speak directly to you. So please sign up please give it to your family and others, as you would know information before it's even become public. But the goal is we want to speak directly to New Yorkers, as it says here from Eric. Instead of having people filter what we are doing, we want to speak directly to you. So we can pass these out to everybody. And if you don't have enough cards, you just put your phone on top of the QR code there, and it'll go right to your phone and you can sign up. Okay? Thanks a lot.
Bormola News, Mahfouzur Rahman. You have Bormola News here today?
No, he's not here.
Okay. So we're going to go to weekly Pakistan news with Adi.
Yes. Hi, Mayor.
How are you?
Good. I just want to say first thanks to inviting all the Muslim media. It's really a surprise and it's honor. Mayor, you know that Ramadan is depending 29 or 30 days every year. This is what Muslim do iftar. I'm very happy in Coney Island. Every day after iftar, after 2 hours, we pray. This is part of Ramadan iftar. We do tarawih, means the long jamaat, long namaz. In Coney Island and few mosques, yes, thank you very much. You allow double parking. But in Queens area, I know last year, lots of people getting tickets every day. Would you please help Muslims, all New York City, that allow like between 7 to 8, only 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, to double parking, or if they get tickets, they have some good sympathy from your department to give a break, number one. Two, on your election time, I hope you remember in Rosedale, Officer Military was also there. You came to, when you were doing your election campaign, you came to my Grand Iftar party in Rosedale with Tom Swazi. I asked you a question on that time. Are you going to be, if you're going to be mayor, you're still going to be come on same, just like that? You say, yes, I will do that. My next Iftar party is on 26th March. So are you coming? I will give you the invitation.
He's coming next year.
I look forward to your beautiful house, your family, and it was really, really an amazing event. And I look forward to being there this year. You are well respected in your community. Everyone spoke highly of you, and I look forward to being there. With the parking, we have a serious problem with fatalities, and one of the major contributors to the fatalities, driving fatalities, vehicle crashes, is double parking. So what we could do is speak with the chief. Let's figure out, we don't want people to be penalized for worshiping. Let's figure out what's the best way to ensure, particularly in those large places with the mosque, having the police and personnel there. We just got to make sure safety is important. So, Chief, if you could sort of figure that out.
Yes, sir.
I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Yemeni American Media Foundation, Yasmin Adair.
Don't tell me about an event I went to that I got to come.
First of all, I would like to thank our mayor for inviting us for this is not just as a Muslim, but as I see it's all religion, and we always concerned and try to help, which is great. Thank you so much for and also for giving us this opportunity to have a table and discuss it. Ramadan is coming. So I have one question. I'm going to say in English and then going to translate it to English. So my question is, how can the city work with the local school to ensure that Muslim students are able to observe Ramadan and fasting while still attending school and participating and doing the activities? And also the lunch meal. As a Muslim, they are fasting. How can the Muslim student provide meals after the break fast? So
You said in your language?
yes. أول شيء أشكر يقدرون على إداء رمضان وتنسيق تأديتهم الواجب الديني من صيام ومن جانب آخر مشاركتهم في الأنشطة والدوام الرسمية. وكيف يحصلوا على يعني وقت الفطور على المدرسة؟
Yeah, so thanks for that. So what we should do is have you and a group come together with Chancellor Banks to figure out how to do that. I don't know the answer to that. So when it comes down to prayer, I think that we should be able to accommodate and figure out how to do it, but he will know better. So why don't we schedule let's get Chancellor Banks and a little small team together, lay out logistically what the ask is, and see can we accommodate that ask without violating the amount of hours a student has to be in the classroom. Because the hours are very strict on how much a student must stay in the classroom. If we can do that without violating it, and logistically, I would like to see us carry that out. So we will make sure that the Chancellor sits down with a small group to help her with logistically how to do it. That would be a real legacy for us.
How about the mayor?
Yeah, well,
Especially when that will come to lunchtime for that purpose.
okay.
And can they get lunch after maybe to take home with them? Because I don't know, all Muslims kids, I don't know, they're able to get food after they go home and break their fast.
Right. So we're gonna look at both those issues. Let's bring the Chancellor in and let the Chancellor sit down. You raise the issue. Let's get together, put our heads together, and find solutions. You know, even as you stated, if we give them a meal upon departing, so that at least they'll have the meal because they're fasting. Okay?
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Next, we have Sunwafri Radio. How do you now?
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's
Salam.
always a pleasure to be here and to see my brother right here. Like you said, this is nothing new. We know how far you go with the Muslim community in general. We're coming to Ramadan right now. And the message I have from the community, the Muslim community, the African community, brother, is that a lot of spaces are empty in New York City. And our mosques are very small, very, very small. And sometimes people are just renting, and those that own it sometimes are going through hardship to just be able to, you know, to pay their mortgage and so on and so forth. So I was wondering if there's a way you can really help us. So we can, if we have bigger space, we'd be able not only to worship, but then the kids, the children, instead of them being outside, being in the street, with everything's going on right now, we will have the time to be able to help them after school to stay with us. We are going through a hard time. This is not under your administration. This has been going on for a while. But we want to make sure with your administration we can move forward and make sure things go the way it is. And we know that's what you're going for. You just said it early on. We know you're a believer. And believe me, we were so proud to see you on TV saying it. So people like us are believers. You make us feel strong and good to know that we are here in New York to live and do our job. The other thing is this. It would be really, really important if it's possible. I know you've been doing it before. We're coming to Ramadan. If we can hear you on our radio show, I know we haven't had on our show before. It would be nice if we could have you on our radio show and to hear you on our social media. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So, Jose will arrange for me to do the radio show and any of your shows. You know, I think Jose has done an amazing job.
Yes.
Of doing it very ethically, because we believe your shows, your radio shows, your
social media,
channels, you know, we think that's the way we should be communicating with people. We don't want to communicate with the major tabloids. You know, we think that you will fairly cover the news, and so we look forward to that.
Thank you.
When it comes down to city space, city cannot allocate space to a religious institution. Now, if you put in place a community center, something like that, we should start on the local level with your council person, your state senator, your assembly person, and all come together and identify a space to put in a community center or focus on Muslim youth. We're open to that conversation. I'm a little concerned about the young people, particularly from the African diaspora, that are getting involved in the mischief because they don't have alternative and because it's difficult for them to assimilate. They're having a challenge to do so. We were up in the Bronx, and so we're having some of the young people up in the Bronx So we're looking forward, we would like to do something around that. But also we want to put in place the extended use program. Then if you have schools in your community, we want to open those schools up so you can hold different programs in the school to help our young people and our seniors. So after school hours, we don't believe we should be closing down these school buildings. Some of these buildings have gyms, classrooms, swimming pools, so many things that they can be used for, and we want to say, we'll pick up the tab as long as you're doing the volunteerism.
Thank you. Just to add something to that, brother, regarding now that Pastor Monroe will take it over a little bit to give more information. In February last month, we actually hosted the first time as well. We do a lot of first time events here in the Muslim community because of the mayor. So we did the first ever DYC discretionary funding specifically tailored for Muslim houses of worship, for masjids. And that day we had almost 100 attendees. Almost 100 mosques across the city attended, learned how they could apply for discretionary funding, how to be eligible for it. Never been done before in our community. So even the houses of worship, there's still ways to get kind of city support. And actually that was done under Pastor Monroe's in his amazing office in the faith-based partnership, maybe you can give a quick as well. But with the guidance of Pastor Monroe, he is right now one of the leaders when it comes to really bringing resources and knowledge for all faith-based communities. But just letting you know, regarding the mosque, they don't have that issues with small space and how to acquire city funding. You know, there are ways for that. And that was a training that hopefully we're going to do it again to give, again, our houses of worship, our mosques, and that kind of knowledge.
We're going to get you and get more information.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything was recorded on YouTube, that application. I will definitely see that every day.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Weekly Bangladesh, Mohammed Wasir Khan. Do you have Weekly Bangladesh here today? No? Okay, let's go to Bosa TV in Mina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for inviting everybody here. Everyone is asking about the Ramadan thing. I just want to ask one question. Will you guys make the changes for the ethnic media, Muslim ethnic media, or you guys need to increase the budget for the ethnic media groups, or like it's, as compared to the last year is getting decreased?
Jose is the money man. And he has done an amazing job. We are not happy with the way money was spent in ethnic media. And Jose has really come in and changed that whole dynamics. Why don't you give it a vision?
Yes, so first, I wanted to ask you to check the report that my office put out 2 weeks ago. And you will see that during the Adams administration, the spending on any media went up in about 50% of what it was on the last 2 years of the last administration. The data is there, the spending is there, look at that. So the city has to spend on TV because that's something that we need to use. Everybody knows that TV is expensive. But if you take out the TV spending and you look at those numbers, you will see that the Adams administration in the first 6 months, not even in the first year, the first 6 months, it went up on a 50% spending. So that's one. And second, what I want to say is that the commitment is there.
Well, I believe in intermittent fast already. I do that already, so it's not difficult for me to fast. I look forward, I'm glad you did that offer. I look forward to fasting with you. I'm glad you offered that.
Thank you. Do we have Mona ladies here today? No. No? Okay, so let's go to African. Mohammed Marda? It's not here. And Turkish Journal? Saduk Akaf? Yes. Go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah. Good, somebody asked already?
Okay, so you don't have a question. Okay. Last but not least, I see our friend Sheikh Musa here. No? So we're just gonna make sure that today is Friday. So I just want to make sure that any of the media members, if I missed any of the media members here today.
We have only one Islamic radio.
Oh!
No.
What happened?
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi there, my name is Kevin Shakil from my market guy. We cater mostly to the younger generation, to the Muslims in America. What is the message you want to send to New York Muslims who are under the age of 30 this Ramadan?
I think it's crucial that their families, their grandmothers, grandfathers, and parents, they were the pioneers that paved the way. And many of our young Muslim brothers and sisters, as in other emerging groups, think that America was always this way, and it wasn't. Those early Muslim brothers and sisters who came to this country from different parts of the globe went through some extreme draconian situations where they were harassed, mistreated, and based on their religious belief, their spiritual belief, it was just unfair. And I think our younger brothers and sisters who are Muslim, they must now pick up the mantle. They must be part of these senior centers that are focused on Muslim men and women. They must be part of domestic violence centers. I remember Bali and others in this community opening one of the first domestic violence centers for women who were dealing with not having a place to stay. And so I think the young people who are part of the Muslim community, they must now pick up the mantle and become the leaders that their parents and their ancestors laid the foundation for them. They must build them on that foundation.
Thank you. Before we go to the last question, I want Mr. Castro here.
I just wanted to make an announcement, but before that, wanted to thank every one of you for helping us communicate information to the immigrant community. So important. We often don't get, all the information out in traditional and mainstream media that we wish gets to the community. So you're really important partners in doing so. We are organizing, my office along with a few other mayoral offices are organizing iftar in the city. And so I just want to announce that this year it is going to be held on Staten Island, March 30th. And I'm sure you'll all get an invitation to join us. It's a wonderful event. We expect hundreds of people to be out there with us. But certainly you'll see us, my team, along with other commissioners and other staff out at different celebrations. Also want to point out Ahmed and Lydia behind me, who are our Muslim community liaisons for the Office of Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. This year we'll be connecting with Muslim asylum seekers who've been arriving to the city in the last year and need a lot of information from us. So thank you again for helping us connect to them, and again for all the work that you do.
My name is Hashid Anam, a president of Yemen Media Arab Foundation. And I so, I'm so proud that we're here with Mr. Mayor, Eric Adams. And I thank you for making the Muslims, Americans, feel that they in their home. Thank you very much. We feel so proud of you, Mr. Eric Adams, in the city of New York, the Big Apple. We're so proud of you that you are the mayor. We feel here, our kids, our women with the hijab, we feel better safe than our mother countries. And I'm telling you this, and God bless you. Bless America. Bless all of you. The police officers, we feel safe with them, especially during Ramadan, during the Salat of the Jum'ah. I'm proud that I'm Americans. I am so proud that my kids is Americans. And we live in this country. It gives us all the freedoms, everything we need, we got it in America. God bless America. God bless you and bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Just one final thing. Sorry, I just want to really say thank you to all the colleagues that came here. If you can see to my right and to my left, this is just like maybe a small glimpse of how many Muslims are currently working right now at City Hall, from executive directors to commissioners, chief administrative officers. We also have deputy commissioners, chiefs of staff, community liaisons. Yeah, as well over there. We have senior advisors for the health department. So I want you guys, if you have a minute, maybe for my colleagues, to get to know you from Brother Ayad from CHR. He has amazing resources he wants to give out as well. We just want to show you a glimpse that this is really, I won't say the new generation, but the new path that the Muslim community is moving towards. And honestly, this is only happening with the guidance of this mayor, who's not a new friend, who has been an old friend, and this is just year one. So we're looking not just for 3 years, hopefully another 7 years.
Inshallah.
Maybe a little higher.
Thank you. Inshallah.